Can we show that? Look at that. These are our special Rebel shoes, one of a kind.
Dopey.
All the characters right there. Joe Hogan is the artist. You got to check him out. He did a great job on these shoes, and I thank him very, very much. My name is James Arnold Taylor. You having a fun time? You bunch of rebels, you. Yeah. So I'm a voice actor, and I do voices in little padded rooms, talking to myself. That's what I do. And people always ask me, well, have you done anything on Kenobi and Master Plo Koon on the Clone Wars? But I'm also the evil genius, the leader on Hulk and the Agents of Smash. But I'm also Bound too. And totally awesome Johnny Test. I'm the voice that tells you what's coming up next on Animation Domination. I've even been the skull in the legend of Jack Sparrow. No, mate. It's Captain Jack Sparrow, who I've voiced in video games. Oh, hey, speaking of video games, I've been Ratchet from Ratchet & Clank, Tidus from Final Fantasy X, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, the Silver Surfer, Professor Charles Xavier. I'm the voice of all the villains. Sometimes when celebrities aren't able to do their own voice, I fill in for them. People like Jay Fox for the things like Stuart Little and Disney's Atlantis: The Lost Empire. Whoa! And Christopher Mintz-Bassett's Fish Legs on that. I've been Andre the Giant in the Princess Bride game. Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. And it's crazy, but I've even been Christopher Walken on the Deepwater Cowboy. Wow! I'm the voice that tells you what's now available on DVD and Blu-ray. To use only as directed. To talk about the drive safely. Offer expires on November 30th. See store for details. Matters 900 actions on Saturday, 77. Prior member of FDIC. Don't miss it! Tonight, back here, 6 o'clock, the main stage. It's called Talking to Myself. It's a double feature with somebody you may know, Mark Hamill. So I'll do my show, you stay in, you get nice and comfortable, and then we're going to start Mark's show right after that, and I'll come out and interview him. We're going to have a good time. Has anybody seen any of the shows so far here on the main stage? Favorite moments? Anybody favorite moments? Trailer, yeah. How about Carrie Fisher? Anthony Daniels last night? Oh man, Ray Park was a lot of fun. We've got Billy D tomorrow. We've got all sorts of stuff. We have the Smuggler's Bounty coming up here later this afternoon. Please come back for that. But right now, we are set for the big one. This is exciting, isn't it? I am very excited for this show. We are going to bring out some faces that you've heard their voices, but now you need to see their faces. You need to experience all the rebels. All we want to do, so let's get ready to roll with it. Let's get ready for Rebels! He's Ezra! He's a rebel! He's Taylor Gray! What's up, Star Wars Celebration? Come on, let's hear it for him. This guy, Zeb. If you love Zeb, you gotta love Steve Blue. Oh, and one of the most talented female voice actors out there, just a doll and lovely and a huge Star Wars fan. She plays Hera, Vanessa Marshall. He is Kanan. He is a Jedi. He is strong in the Force. He is Freddie Prinze Jr. We have some special surprise guests because you see we got a couple extra seats here. So I want to bring out one of the producers here, one of the very important people in the world of Rebels, but also in the world of Star Wars. This is a new face for you. You may not know him. He's done some work on another show that was out before called Clone Wars. He's a personal friend of mine. And he is an amazing person in the world of Star Wars, and we have a lot to thank him for. One more time for our rebels here, come on! Have a seat. Thank you all for being here and joining me on this stage. It's a small stage. We try to provide for you. I'm sorry. We got a small turnout. Hey, these are the best seats in the house.
Lucky.
Now, some of you guys have not been to Celebration before, correct? Wow, many of you. What's it like so far? Just anybody? Anybody got a thought?
This is the first 5 seconds of it, and that's pretty crazy seeing all you guys out there. So thanks for showing up.
Good to be home. Good to be home.
Now, before we dive into all of this, we have a lot to cover, and the time is going to go by fast. So, Dave, can you just kind of set the ground rules? Can you give us a little something? Tell us about season 1 and how it all kind of came together.
Well, season 1, we were kind of moving beyond what we had done in Clone Wars, and we were targeting time period, and we knew we wanted to work between episode 3 and 4. So the main theme there really was, and there is no Jedi Order to find him. What do they do? Kids don't stop being born with the Force just because the Empire's taken over. So we kind of formulated a story based around a boy, and Simon wanted it to be a family dynamic, and living on a ship, and all the kind of things that we had grown up with in the era of A New Hope. That sense of living on the Falcon, a group of friends together that felt like a family, being chased by Galactic Empire. All those things were different ingredients than we had really done on Clone Wars, which was very four-part arc, different character groups. So it just seemed a natural transition. Katana in it because she would still be alive.
And by the way, son, pleasure to meet you. This is our first meeting. Thank you for joining.
I grew up on Star Wars. Star Wars was the reason I wanted to get into movies in the first place. So when I've been working with the Lucasfilm folks on some of the features, and they came to me because they know I have 2 boys who love animated shows and now have grown up on Clone Wars, and asked me if I wanted to get involved, and I got so excited about it and excited about working with Dave. The time period and this notion of sort of creating a family of characters that live on a show. As much as anything story-wise, it was the vibe of the show. That we're getting an aesthetic, a look for the show that feels like the original movies, but also has its own aesthetic to it as well, because it's based on a lot of the original art.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we like what they came up with, don't we? Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much. But I want this now to be for anybody. Y'all jump in, your family, you can cut each other off. Beat each other up, that's all right. For all of you, how does it feel to be adopted and
like one giant mother holding me? I love it. You guys are incredible.
You guys got a little bit of this last year at Star Wars Weekends. And I remember that expression the first time you came out on a stage and there was, thousands of people looking and cheering for you, and you're like, what? And so this is the most loving group of people you ever find, Star Wars fans. You are wonderful fans. You so love this, it means something to you, and then you put it back on these people. So,
For me, I mean, this scar on my chin is from playing Star Wars. So,
really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you can't just say that. You got to give the story.
We bit this flagpole, not like a flagpole, a little flagpole, back and forth until it snapped, and I was Luke. My chin. My mom had to witness this. She saw me get so many injuries. It literally was like, put him in a car, let's go, come on. It just threw me out. So I had the appreciation, but it's gotten real deep. Like, you do this, and I didn't start Twitter until Star Wars, and I was like, hey, I'm on this show, check it out, it's Rebels. And like in a week, I was doing full-on like Twitter roleplay sessions as Kanan with like Imperials trying to kill me, and I'm like, oh, you think you're gonna kill Kanan? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Let me tweet this at you. I need more characters. Here's a second tweet. And I just jumped in.
That scar thing on his chin happened like 2 weeks ago, just so you know.
Taylor, how about you? How's this been? I mean, new kid on the block with this character, like this young character.
Because they are the main people who watch the show. I mean, everyone watches the show, it seems like. But it's so fun, and it's Star Wars. Everyone everyone loves it, which is the coolest part.
Yeah. And Tia, this is, I mean, your character is so strong for ladies. They love it. How is that for you?
Pretty good. At the time that it was a big deal, but I don't think I really knew. And so once I got this job is when I went and I was like, oh, I need to do as much Star Wars homework as I possibly can. So I started watching Clone Wars. So serendipitously, it was at the same time that Clone Wars got on Netflix, and I was like, oh, this works out great. So I started watching binge watching Clone Wars. And I rewatched the original trilogy, and then I really understood, like fully understood what all the fuss is about. And so I feel like I can truly say now that I am a huge Star Wars fan. And my mom, in fact, now is a huge Star Wars fan. She watches Clone Wars on Netflix, she watches Rebels, and she calls me after every episode. She's like, I want to talk about Kanan, I want to talk about Ezra's parents, like the whole background is you can come to Star Wars and be a full-fledged fan like my mom.
You saw it, you like it, come here.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, so I'm going to start with you, Taylor, and we're going to go down the line. Before you started the show and now.
Okay, to be honest, don't hate me. I had only seen a few of the movies. Everyone knows it, so I'd say a solid.
I'm gonna just say, based on sheer ignorance, I would be at like a 4.2, and now I'm at like a.
Got one up on him. So that's
Yeah.
And now you are.
Oh, like what's the highest? 10?
10.
We're at a 10. Yeah.
Okay.
That I heard gives me some credit. Even though
Got it.
I am completely ignorant about most things, I can't believe I haven't put a number on it. And now, oh, it's 11, baby. All the way.
Now, Vanessa, I kind of feel I already know this, but where are you at?
Probably 10 to begin with, and I don't think it's in quantify. I mean,
No numbers.
you can't put a number on the infinity of feelings that I have. Clearly, I can't even speak. I'm so happy. Yeah, it's intergalactic.
Now, I gotta say, when I heard you were cast as Kanan, I was really excited because I knew that you were a big Star Wars fan. So I was thinking, I was putting myself in your shoes going, this just gotta be through the moon with this. So you were, I'm guessing, a pretty high number already to begin with on the scale.
Yeah, my mom taught me at a very young age, people are going to make fun of you no matter what, so just commit to what you love and don't care what anyone says. So, so I embraced, liking the stuff I liked a long, long time ago. I mean, like I said, this is from Star Wars. It's not from a cool fight that I had. I'm not going to tell you some fake story, but he got it worse than me. Nah, it was not. I was an easy 10 going in, and I'm a 10 still to this day. But Force be with you as often as you hear, "I love you, Mom." It works.
That's right. That's right. Now, Simon, do we need to ask? I mean,
I'd never seen a Star Wars movie until a couple of years ago. So I started a solid one. I waited in line and slept in a sleeping bag the night before Empire Strikes Back came out, and was on the streets of Westwood Village in a sleeping bag. So I would say I was at a solid 10, and if that's the max, it's never going to go up or down. I'm at a 10 for life.
okay, good. Dave, do we even need to go there?
I would say that they've all been very fair.
Yeah.
Knowing them, I think that's all true. I think of you all that way. With Taylor with the most to learn, which is just like Ezra.
Yeah.
With the Mandalorian obviously having to put herself over on the next person, which is very fair. Steve being kind of right in the middle. You're never really sure how much he knows or not. And it's amazing. You can almost challenge Pablo, I don't know, he's still the king. And then we've got you, which I will say, I mean, and everybody, Simon will remember this, we had to cast Rebels very, very quickly for a production. We had to get the show up and running so fast. So we only really, at the end of the day, what should take months, we had to do it in a matter of about a week. And everyone said we couldn't do it. It was going to be really impossible. But we had, and I just remember, especially Freddie's read, because he knew it was Star Wars, even though we had cleverly coded it something else. He just knew, I'm not sure how. It's so obvious.
Because you called the lightsaber a sun sword.
That was not a Thunder the Barbarian thing, but anyway, Freddie's read was instant Star Wars to me. You had the swagger that we needed for our Jedi, which is a unique role. So you nailed it. Yes, I like Star Wars very much. So.
Yes, you do. I'm so glad you do. Okay, you kind of really covered some of this stuff, but I have some... No, it was great. You covered some of the dynamic. That's what I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to ask you some questions, kind of towards you guys, but feel free to chime in, cut them off. Who's the jokester in this group?
Steve Bloom.
No.
For sure, yeah. I think so.
He's the least professional of our group.
Yes, that's another way to put it. Thank you, Freddie.
I'm a voice actor.
Which one is that?
That's it? Okay. We kind of know who the Uber fan is, but...
Less
yeah.
overt.
Freddie's like a sniper.
Well, you know in the show how you never know who was in charge. Is it Hera?
I was going to say, they can fight out.
Is it Kanan? So it's kind of like that. Who knows more? So we had that on Clone Wars too. It's really weird.
I know like 5 things about Star Wars really well, and then the rest of the world is like, catch him. So in my small pool, I know a lot. Get me outside of that pool. No.
Okay.
We make a good team.
Yes.
She's an encyclopedia.
Yeah. Who's the easiest to mess with? They all look at you. Let me stand over here so somebody at least
Makes it.
Yeah, it's out of love.
It's teaching Star Wars. That's what we call it.
Have they-
teaching me Star Wars?
The ultimate Padawan.
Have they pulled any tricks on you or anything? Anything you want to get them back for in front of 5,000 people?
It's too nice. We can't.
No. Okay.
We're not cruel. We're not
And who's always on time?
Freddie,
Not Steve.
That's narrative.
Who's often late?
Not Steve.
Listen when he gets in the room.
Yeah, and Freddie, you bring up a good point. Now, Steve and Vanessa, both wildly popular in the world of voiceover, and amazing voice actors. Same thing for you guys here on the show now.
A gigantic family. Yeah. I mean, it was an instant bond. I think we all got along really well from the very beginning, except for me and Tia. But other than that, she's not even paying attention.
Hey, Vanessa?
Yeah, I think it was really well cast in the sense that our energies, as we roam the earth, pretty much match the characters. So when you put us in a room together, I'm usually feeding people, he's teaching Taylor this, that, and the dumb. And Steve's
sleeping.
making fun, like Zed, Steve's making noises.
Now, okay.
It's a motley crew in real life, too. So it's
And
great.
then for the rest of you, I mean, well, Freddie, you've done actually quite a bit of voiceover as well.
A little. Not like these two, but a little.
A lot where you're maybe more isolated, just yourself in the booth, so now you've got this whole family.
That's what makes this, I think, so special. It's like we go on a road trip once a week, right? From LA to San Francisco. It's like this. We do the whole episode in order. So it's definitely a family vibe. Where it's like for video games, when I did Iron Bull or James Vega, that's like you're in a booth. And, hey, Iron Bull, that's a creepy scene if you played the game. But yeah, so there you're just isolated and you're either reacting to, like Dave, like everybody says, it's a family vibe. Steve's making noises, and if you do this take, it's like the best take you've ever done, right? Kanan's giving you some real emotion, and it's this powerful moment. And as soon as I'm done, only it'll be like, I'll be crying. You know what I mean? Like, I'm upset, and it's like a powerful
I love
moment.
to
I'm
do all
talking
our
about
scenes
former
together.
masters, and you hear,
That's what I do. That drives the rest of you nuts.
yeah.
Because then I'll be like, all right, half of you have to leave. I got to do something with just Freddie and Vanessa today and dismiss you. And then you all wonder. I'll imagine you text you, what happened in that scene? What's going on? That was the whole thing with.
You see how Dave's a Sith Lord, right?
Um,
You guys see that, right? You notice every time you ask him a question about anyone from Clone Wars, he just goes total Sith on you, right? He gives you no honest information.
there's always truth in there. There's always truth in there.
All right, Felonious Palpatine.
There was a reason we called him Master Filoni on the show. Now, for all of you, what do you feel your characters have learned over the course of the season?
Well, one, how to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
Which is the coolest. But he's also learned what family is, because he was so self-reliant on his own. He's now embraced what a family is, and he now sticks up for other people, and it's been fun. But obviously the coolest is learning how to be a Jedi. And how to use a lightsaber.
And for all of us to learn while you're learning. I think that's been the greatest part of the show, hasn't it? Getting that kind of behind the scenes, and for kids experiencing Star Wars for the first time. Really great. Tia, how about you?
I think Sabine has learned sort of how to be a little more trusting. I think, you know, this is her family presently. And, is that, yeah. I thought that was the diplomatic way to answer that.
Sometimes I'm not even sure what that means, so just spoiler alert.
I don't know anything more than what I just said. But I think, you know, Sabine in season 1 was the first, but was the most sort of suspicious of Ezra. Like, not suspicious, but just like the least welcoming, because, you know, Kanan and Ezra have this bond, and of course, Hera's very, you know, maternal, and Zeb's like gives him a hard time, but doesn't mind him all that much. But I think Sabine was a little trepidatious about Ezra, and so I think that over the course of time of season 1, and I think she like warms up to him a little bit, stops calling him like kid, and starts actually like calling him Ezra, you know. And so I think she kind of learns to be a little more trusting of the people that she spends all her time with.
Excellent. Well, you know, we have so much to cover. So I'm sorry, if I can jump for a minute. Dave, some way we can kind of sum up season 1, the finale, and all of that, some thoughts. And Simon, feel free to jump in.
The greatest finale ever.
Reaction from the fans. Let me ask you this. Let me start off with this. What does the future bring?
Better. We spend all this time animating stuff and lighting it beautifully with my team, so it's better to look at stuff. What did you see what's to come? We can see it. And have you guys seen? You haven't seen
No,
this.
of course not. Why would you let?
All right. So here's a look at season 2.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Hey, lot going on here. Dave, there was a couple characters there that I recognized. Hey! Welcome back! Having fun? So,
I've been waiting for this moment for a long time.
So wait, how does it, now it's time for a really dumb question. How does it feel? Ashley?
Oh my goodness, well, the secret was out for me after the season 1 finale. That was a hard secret to keep. And I looked at Dave, and I mean, honestly, I looked at Dee, and I just started crying. Like, tears coming down my face, because it had been over 2 years since we recorded